Expect to go. Good afternoon, Chibugo. Good afternoon, Kingsley. Good afternoon, Loveday, ICANN, Chibugo, Emilion, Samira. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I wanted to be sure I could be heard. Good afternoon, Chibugo. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, I think we can start. Good afternoon, everyone, once again. Welcome to the Nigeria Youth Internet Governance Forum Webinar Series 2025. My name is Sharon Mando. Please, I hope I can be heard. Please, if you can hear me, I'd just like for you to give me a thumbs up, just to be sure that, I'm not talking in vain. Okay, thank you, Amina. Thank you so much. All right, my name is Sharon Mando, and I'm a broadcaster. I am a tech compare. I love, I'm passionate about advocating for youth empowerment through technology, and I anchor and compare tech-focused events, and I run programs that raise awareness about digital innovation, helping young people see the possibilities in tech and, how they can take part in shaping the future. So I'm thrilled to be a moderator today. And today we're diving into something that might sound very technical at first, but I promise you that it's about you. It's about your voice, it's about your future, and how you can shape the internet and what works for everybody. So before we jump in, let's just get a feel of the room, just to be sure that we are all active on this call. In the chat box, I would like for us to just say, if the internet was a person, right? And this should not just be like for like 30 seconds. If the internet was a person, how would you describe their personality? Would you say that it's funny? Would you say it's bossy? Would you say it's friendly, mysterious? I would say smart, but what would you say? Please drop it in the chat box and let's see who gets the most creative answer. All right, so as we're dropping that in the chat box, as the responses are rolling in, mysterious, okay, thank you. Unpredictable, interesting. I'll say smart though, I'll say smart. But keep the responses rolling in. Let's set the tone. Today's theme is empowering youth in digital governance, careers and opportunities in ICANN. Now, this webinar is not just a lecture, it's a gateway. It's a gateway into understanding how the internet is governed, how you can be part of that process, and what career paths are open to young people globally. And ICANN said savior. Interesting. Okay. So this session also sets the stage for the ICANN 83 Public Forum, which is happening from the 9th to the 12th of June. And we want you to walk away today with the confidence to engage and maybe even participate in the forum. So we've got two brilliant speakers joining us today, people who have walked this path and are here to show us the way forward. All right, so we're just going to kick things off with someone who knows ICANN from the inside out. I'm talking about Amina Ramalan, who currently works in New Media and Information Security Department of the Nigerian Communications Commission, where she focuses on promoting internet governance, best practices across Nigeria. Now, beyond her official role, she actively contributes to youth engagement in internet governance as a member of the executive committees for Nigeria West Africa, and the Africa Youth Internet Governance Forum, IGF. When you're big, I beg. She also serves as Nigeria's Universal Acceptance UA Ambassador since 2023 and the Vice President of Events and Programs for Women in Cybersecurity, Nigeria, advocating for the recruitment, retention, and advancement of women in cybersecurity. Now, as a two-time fellow of the Internet Corporation of Assigned Names and Numbers, which is ICANN, and the African School of Internet Governance, she has engaged with global industry experts and contributed to discussions on IPv6, data protection, diversity, and leadership. And her commitment to bringing the digital and gender divides earned her the ICANN Tarek Kamel Award for ICT capacity building, further fueling her passion for mentoring young women in technology. She's an ICANN fellow and advocate for youth inclusion in digital governance. She'll be unpacking the question, what is ICANN? Because a number of us that have joined today are probably wondering, what is ICANN? What is ICANN, right? She will talk us through the DNS, which is domain name system, IP address allocation, and ICANN's role in keeping the global internet stable and secure. So, Amina, over to you.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you confirm if you can hear me, please?
We can hear you.
Okay. Oh, okay. Good afternoon. So like Sharon said, my name is Amina Ramalan. I work for the Nigerian Communications Commission, and I'm also an ICANN fellow. So my presentation is just going to be about what is ICANN, what it entails, what does ICANN do. I do have a slide. Okay, I think Loveday is about to share the slide. Okay, so basically, what is ICANN, right? So has anyone here in the room ever, come across the word, not the chartered accountant ICANN? This one is a lot of people tend to mistake the two. Anyone? Okay, how about anyone that has not heard about the word before? Okay. All right then. I guess I'll just go ahead. So basically what is ICANN? Like the word ICANN, ICANN is the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. Now, before I go ahead, one thing I will do say is when you are in ICANN, you will come across 1,001 acronyms, and it gets so bad that you yourself start speaking to people using those acronyms, just assuming that they know what they mean. So apologies if I do use an acronym and you don't know what it means. You can just type it in the chat. I will make sure to look in the chat so that I will correct the acronym. So yeah, what is ICANN? ICANN is the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, right? It's a non-profit, non-governmental organization that is responsible for the assignment and managing of the Internet's unique identifiers. So what are these Internet unique identifiers? Now, Internet unique identifiers are basically just names and numbers and protocols that are, unique, that cannot be repeated more than once for either a device or a website or a location, right? So you have the IP addresses, which I'm sure a lot of people know we have IPv4, and now some people have already, moved on to IPv6, but the world is still trying to get there. We also have domain names. Domain names are basically like how you have www.google.com. So it's unique because you can only use one domain once. You cannot have a www.google.com that maybe takes you to Google and probably another one that takes you somewhere else. And then you have the root server system. The root server system is it's basically like a library of domain names, basically, that you have them across the world. I will just, in the next slide, I'll give an example of how it works. So basically, the mission of ICANN is to ensure a stable and secure operation of the Internet's unique identifiers. Now, popular to some misconceptions, right? ICANN does not actually control the Internet. A lot of times you hear people say, okay, ICANN is registered in the US. So does that mean, the US is monitoring our use of the internet? Does that mean our internet is not safe? No. Just like a lot of other bodies out there, you do have to register the body somewhere in a particular country, right? So it's registered in the US, but it's not like a US company, it's global. ICANN also does not regulate the internet. It does not regulate content. It is not within its mandate. It's also ICANN is also not controlled by a single government, operates under a multi-stakeholder model. So back to ICANN's responsibility. So just to give a quick example, say for instance, you want to go to, like I said, www.google.com, right? So what happens is computers do not understand English, like words, right? They work with numbers. So behind www.com, it means something to the computer. It means something to the DNS, which is the domain name system. So when you come to your laptop and you go to your browser and type www.google.com, the first thing your laptop does, it goes to the DNS resolver, right? And it asks the DNS resolver, where is www.google.com? Now, what happens is that DNS resolver then goes and asks the DNS root server, which I spoke to, is like a library, and it asks it also, where is www.google.com? But that library, right, it only knows about what we call the top level domains. Now, top level domains is the .com, right? So that library only knows about .com. So it tells you, okay, I don't know where www.google.com is, but I can what I only have access to is .com. So if you go to .com, you can ask the .com server, where is www.google.com? Then the DNS resolver again goes to that .com server and asks it, can you take me to www.google.com? And then the DNS server then says, okay, I only know about, .com, but I can direct you to ICANN.com server. Then it goes to ICANN.com server. And then when it goes to ICANN.com server, sorry, Google.com server, then it asks it, can you also direct me to www.google.com? Now that server, which is the server that has all the information, will now tell this the DNS resolver that, okay, www.google.com in computer language is this IP address. It then converts the um, domain name into an IP address and then gives it back to your laptop. Then you get feedback on your laptop and it takes you to google.com. So basically, what ICANN does is those activities that happen behind within the DNS, within the IP address conversion, within the root server. So ICANN is responsible for managing it, for ensuring it works globally, for ensuring the internet is single, is interoperable, and it's secure. So another function of ICANN is also to prevent fragmentation of the internet. A lot of time we come across, I'm sure people have heard about, oh, maybe like somewhere like China, or they don't use WhatsApp, they want to have their own this, they want to have their own that. So some of the things that ICANN does is to ensure that the internet is not fragmented, right? So moving on, if you see on the right side of the slide, I have three acronyms, right? You have ICANN, which, like I said, is the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. You have IANA, which is the Internet Assigned Names Authority. And then you have PTI, which is the Public Technical Identifiers. Now, ICANN is the corporation, right? Which is what I just spoke about. IANA is like a department within ICANN. IANA is what is responsible for this, management of these unique identifiers that I spoke about. So it's like a department within ICANN. While PTI is like a subcontractor that ICANN hired to carry out these functions of IANA just to make sure these functions are done independently. These functions are not, somebody is not, making these functions not work. So that's it for ICANN, IANA, and PTI. And this PTI are actually the members, the people that lead PTI are members of the community, members that have been assigned by, you and I. We will get into that in next slide, please. So I don't know if anyone can. So the next slide, we have the ICANN ecosystem. The ICANN ecosystem is made into three parts. You have the community. The community is made up of you and I, basically anyone, right? Is part of the ecosystem of ICANN, you and I, because as long as you contribute, as long as you attend the meeting, as long as you make comments to any policy, you are a member of the community. Then we have the supporting organizations. We will break those down in the next slide also. And then we also have the advisory committees. Now, these members of the community are all the three make up you and I and every other person out there. Then we have the organization, of course, it's a corporation, so it needs staff, right? You have the staff, the people that support the community, the people that make sure the day-to-day activities run. And then you have the board. Now, this board are the people that do the high level things for the corporation, financing, voting, and just to either approve or not approve advices that are brought by the advisory committee, as I said, in the community, right? Next slide, please. So, what are supporting organizations? So, supporting organizations, also called SO within ICANN. Now, they're made up of three. There are three, right? You have the ASO, which is the Address Supporting Organization. You have the CCNSO, which is the Country Code Name Supporting Organization. And then you have the GNSO, which is the Generic Name Supporting Organization. So the ASOs are basically responsible for advising the board. So just like they're basically responsible for advising the board with respect to any policy issue relating to the operation, relating to the management, relating to the assignment of internet addresses, right? So anything that has to do with IP addresses is within the ASO, how our addresses shared within regions. By addresses, I mean IP addresses. How are they shared within regions? How do they function? What way? Who gets what? Who doesn't? Are are our IPv4 addresses still going to, function? Where is it being used? So that's the addressing support organizations. And within that, that's where you have each, because the way it is so ICANN has the global, function for all the IP addresses worldwide. But ICANN is not the one that assigns these IP addresses to like Africa, Europe, Latin America. So each region has bodies within it that ICANN will say, okay, take this chunk of IP addresses. This is for your region. Africa, take yours. Asia Pacific, take yours. North America, take yours. And then I can just, on a high level, supervise it and make sure that's functioning well. Then you have the CCN also. So yeah, like it says here, the ASO is composed of 15 members, three from each regional internet registries. These regional internet registries are like Afrinic. I'm sure a lot of people know about Afrinic. So the same way Africa has Afrinic, other regions also have Afrinic, and the world is made up of 5 regions. So three from each region, making 15. Then you have a CCNSO. So in ICANN, we have something called CCTLDs. CCTLDs are just like the way you have .mg, other countries also have theirs. So country code name supporting organization is responsible for developing and recommending any form of global policy that relates to the CCTLD. The membership of the CCNSO is open to usually CCTLD managers, and they're responsible for, managing the SO. The CCNSO, like I said, works on global policies for top country code, top level domains. And then you have the GNSO. The GNSO is more general, right? So the same way you have .mg, .uk, .br, you also have .com, .org, .edu. So those are GTLDs. Those are generic top level domains. So the GNSO is responsible for the development and recommendation to ICANN board, any form of policies that relates to GTLDs. The GNSO is divided actually into two houses. You have the contracted and the non-contracted party houses. So if you look at it, you see that supporting organizations, what they basically do is more on the policy side. They come up with policies, they come up with you know, yeah. Yeah. So if I'm too fast, please just let me know. Um, if there's anyone that has any question, you can put it in the chat, or if you need clarification about something.
Question in the chat, Amina.
Okay,
We'll
I
take
will.
questions later. Just drop your questions in the chat and then we'll take the questions later, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'll try to move a bit slower. So then the next slide, you have the advisory committees, right? And the advisory committees are basically, we have four advisory committees within ICANN, right? We have the governmental advisory committee, which is basically made up of government representatives, but not just government. You also have representatives of IGOs, which are international governmental organizations. And then you also have a few people that are observers. These observers sometimes are just individuals, and some are also maybe representatives of the um, supporting organizations just to observe. And then you also have the Root Server System Advisory Committee, which is the RSSAC. You have the Security and Stability Advisory Committee, which is the SSAC. And then you also have the At-Large Advisory Committee, which is the ALAC, right? So first, the ALAC is responsible for, considering and providing advice. So just like the name goes, advisory committee. So they provide advice mostly on, the policies that have been developed by the supporting organizations. So the ALAC is responsible for considering and providing advices on the activities of ICANN, basically activities that relate to the interest of individual internet users. So the ALAC is where you normally find just internet end users. You find a lot of civil society organizations. They are mostly formed within something called the at-large structure. You find just normal people that may be newcomers into ICANN that don't really know where they fit. A lot of times they tend to start from, the the ALAC. So within the ALAC, you also have, so the same way you have five regions in, the ASO. Within the ALAC is also divided into five regions of the world. You have the AFRALO, which is for Africa, which is the Africa Regional At-Large Organization. We also have the APRALO, which is the Asia Pacific Regional At-Large Organization. You have EURALO, which is for Europe. You have LACRALO, which is for Latin America and the Caribbean. And then you have NARALO, which is for North America. Um, and then the next is the GAC. So like I said, the GAC is basically made up of government. Most majority of the GAC is government, right? The GAC, Governmental Advisory Committee, provides advice on public policy aspects of ICANN. So usually in areas that interact between ICANN policies and national laws or international agreements. Usually to be a member of the GAC, if you're not an observer, your governmental body needs to formally acknowledge you and tell the GAC, okay, tell ICANN and the GAC that, okay, this person is a representative of our government, or this person is a representative of the international organization. So that has to be informed to the GAC before you become a member of the GAC. And then next you have the Root Server System Advisory Committee. So remember I spoke about the root server earlier. So the Root Server System Advisory Committee is responsible for advising the community and the board also on matters that relate to the operation, administration, security, and integrity of the internet root server system. So things like, oh, is this root server functioning properly? Is this do we want to, put up a new root server? Which country, where, how many do we have? So things like that. And then you have the Security and Stability Advisory Committee. The Security and Stability Advisory Committee is responsible for, advices that relate to the security and integrity of the internet's unique identifiers, rather. So these are where you hear things like DNSSEC. DNSSEC is Domain Name System Security Extensions. So that is that for the Security and Stability Advisory Committee. Now, just to take a pause and say that while some of these things may sound, technical, a lot of gibberish, but just like Sharon said, we have a whole of different type of people within the ecosystem. Whatever you do, whether you're a banker, you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you will find somewhere that you fit, right? You will find somewhere that you can make contributions, somewhere that you can participate. So next slide. So yes, so each year the ICANN community comes together, you know, um, discuss what has been done, what is working, what is not working, what should be done, either related to policies, related to initiatives, related to outreach, related to, maybe new laws that come up, whenever there's something in the community that might or might not affect the, internet's unique identifiers. The community comes together 3 times a year, discuss policies, come up with advices. So we have 3 types of meetings at ICANN. And usually ICANN meetings are set, the timings are cast in stone and way ahead of the time. You usually have the first meeting of the year in March. So every March there's a meeting, it's called the Community Forum. The Community Forum is typically held in March, like I said, over a span of 6 days. It usually happens from Saturday to Thursday. So the meeting is structured in such a way that supporting organizations like the ASO, the GNSO, and the advisory committees like the GAP, the ALAC, they have the opportunity to, have cross-community interactions, have plenary sessions, have topics of community-wide interest. So that's it. So they also discuss ICANN community work. And in the community forum, you have a board meeting and you have a public forum. Public forum is usually like an open mic. Um, and then the next you have the policy forum. The policy forum is the shortest meeting of the year. Instead of 6 days, is 4 days. It's typically held in June, Monday to Thursday, and then it's dedicated to policy development work of the SOs and the ACs, and also regional outreach. A lot of times it focuses on outreach that is done within the region the meeting is happening. Because it's smaller, it's just 4 days, so there's no pub public forum during, the policy forum, and there's also no board meetings. And then the last meeting of the year is the annual general meeting. Now, the annual general meeting covers things from, election, if there is a new election cycle, the new members
Hi, Amina.
Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you now. We can hear you now. But please round up so we can move to the next session.
Hello? Sharon, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
So what was the last thing you heard? So I can just...
We're talking about the last meeting of the year.
Yes. So the last meeting of the year, 6 days, Saturday to Thursday. It also focuses on internal work of the SOs and the A general forum, right? What tends to happen is to showcase ICANN's work to a broader global audience, right? More time is dedicated to things like capacity building, leadership training session, and also, like I said, if there are going to be any new members or new board or new working group or new committee, any form of appointment, it starts from the annual general meeting. So this is just a slide to let people know that. So like like I just said, policy forum happens in June. The next one, which is ICANN 83. So ICANN meetings are identified by numbers. So it started from 1, now we're at 83, which is happening next week, June 9th to 12th. It's happening in Prague. So for each ICANN meeting, um, there is a holistic virtual performance opportunity. You can perform, you can participate virtually. You can, give your contributions, ask your questions. The meetings tend to happen in the local time of the country that is hosting. So next week, Monday to Thursday, is the community forum. It's a hybrid meeting. It's free for all. Registration is still open for online and in-person participants also. So how do you prepare? I think Bolu will speak a lot more on these. You do have you can just go to the website, look at all of these things. Like I said, there's a lot of acronyms and whatnot. You can participate in your region, like everything within the ecosystem of internet governance, right? ICANN is also a bottom-up approach. So it's good to start from the grassroots and, fit into the global level. I'll just leave, the rest. Bolu, I'm sure will speak about the next gen and the fellow, and I can learn and whatnot. So I think that's the last slide that I have. The next one, I think that's the last slide, right? Love to.
Yes. Others will be captured by Bolu on his own side. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
All right. So thank you so much. I'll just look through the chat and I can answer questions there if there's any.
Okay, thank you very much, Amina. That was a powerful start. I would have loved for us to do something like an icebreaker, but we're already behind schedule. So let me just pass the microphone to the next speaker. Let's welcome our next speaker, Bolu Adisa. He is a technology professional, passionate about digital technologies, internet governance, and youth initiative. He's an active contributor to the internet governance ecosystem globally with UN, Internet Governance Forum, the Internet Society, and ICANN. He's currently an executive committee member, EC member of ICANN's non-profit users constituency, that's NPOC. He is a youth and technology advocate with experience working with both private sector and civil society organizations. He is, Bolu is going to break down real practical ways young people can get involved through next gen fellowships, public meetings, and community programs at ICANN. So, Bolu, over to you. Before you take over the mic, before I forget to say this, congratulations on your election as NPOC secretary.
Thank you very much. And thanks for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be back here at the Nigerian Youth Internet Governance Forum, because this is also kind of where it all started for me as well. I think in 2017, we had organized this same event, and now I'd like to appreciate the organizers now doing such a great job. And thank you guys for inviting me. So straight to the conversation at hand, I'm actually reading the slide from one of my friends. So I realized there are a few typos there. I'm going to correct it as we move on. But yes, so Amina has covered the basic information you need to know about ICANN. I think no one could have done better. It's very comprehensive, and some of you might feel it's a lot of details already, but trust me, ICANN is even more complicated the closer you move to those topics. But I would say don't be discouraged. Don't let it scare you. Even the people involved are also kind of catching up on a lot of topics. But this is where I now share the strategy in which you can actively engage with ICANN. So you're not supposed to know everything. You see all the different support organizations, advisory councils, IANA, all those things. These are like whole different communities, and no one expects you to be involved with every single part of ICANN. right? I mean, it's literally impossible. But how you get involved is very important, and where you find yourself within ICANN would also determine what kind of work you do in ICANN. So new to ICANN, how do you join ICANN? Joining is very easy. It's not, there's no gatekeeping. You can join online, join the mailing list of any group you're interested in. So ICANN has a structure, and I think it's something you'll find on their website. I also shared a significant part of it. So we have the support organizations, we have the advisory councils, we have the more technical side also that contribute to the overall ecosystem. But wherever you choose to get involved in, the point now is you can easily go to their website online. The mailing list is mostly open to all. So follow the mailing list, right? Register on the mailing list, follow the conversations there, contribute to the conversations there. And that's like the first step of getting involved, because there are always lots of topics that require people contributing, people from different diverse perspectives, diverse backgrounds. And then it also brings me to the point that it's not just for technical people, because there's always this misconception that you have to be technical in order to be involved with ICANN. But we have lawyers, we have teachers, we have pretty much everyone, because internet belongs to all. That's a very important acronym or important slogan that we use, which means we all have a right to contribute to this internet resource, to policies that relate to the internet. So listen and learn is very important. When you get on the mailing list, so there's a typo there, it's supposed to be listen. Yeah, but basically you can learn by listening, by seeing people, by communicating with people online and offline, and then search. Yeah, there's capacity building materials scattered everywhere across ICANN websites. There's also a website called ICANN Learn. If you Google ICANN Learn now, it's going to come up. There are like short courses and webinars and very interactive courses that would help you really understand what ICANN is all about. And lastly, it's important that you engage and you collaborate on different issues that are happening within ICANN. That's literally the only way that you can stay within the ecosystem and contribute, because we've also seen a lot of people come around and they eventually have to leave or eventually find it uninteresting because probably they feel, oh, I'll just keep learning. I'm not good enough. But really, your engagement is really what opened doors for you to understand topics better and also contribute better to the entire ICANN work and policy work, basically. So I think to the interesting slide, are we there yet? The next one. Okay, yeah. So this is also sort of something that you need to keep at the back of your mind. You can join ICANN as an individual and contribute to the policy-making process. You can also join ICANN as an organization. So for example, in my introduction mentioned that I'm with the nonprofit organization constituency. In the nonprofit organization constituency, we are all basically nonprofit organizations. So your organization sends you to represent them on that platform. But also there are many other opportunities or many other communities that are for individuals within ICANN. And you have to do more research to know the structure, places, constituencies, supports groups that you can be a part of. And yeah, there are lots of them, I tell you. And there are regional ones also. You probably heard of AfraLo. AfraLo is the African Regional at-Large Organization. And, things like that. But outreach is also very important. It's a way you can contribute. You can also help these communities in reaching out further to their networks. And then visibility is also very important. There are lots of ways to make your group visible within ICANN. It's also about disseminating information and building capacity within ICANN as well. So that's really encouraged within the community. And then I would go straight to the most important slide, I think, for many people, because many people will ask, how can I really get involved in participating at the event? Because ICANN has 3 meetings, like Amina already stated. We have the policy meeting, the community forum, and the annual general meeting. And in all these meetings, there are always opportunities for you to participate in ICANN. That includes partial or even mostly full support for your travel, for your lodging, for your basically the entire cost of you participating in the meeting. So these opportunities, I believe, are very good for young people because it's understandable that there are lots of constraints for us as young people in terms of financing your visit or your travel to ICANN. So the fellowship program is one, and that's a very good one because fellowship program is open to all for 2 meetings out of 3. So I mentioned the annual general meeting and the community forum. So these 2 meetings in a year, one happens in March. I think the other one is at the end of the year. 2 out of 3 are open to anybody. Basically, anyone can apply for the fellowship program in this case, which means you can decide that I want to be part of ICANN. Then you put in an application in the ICANN fellowship portal. This information is readily available on ICANN websites. You can just Google ICANN fellowship. So if your application passes through the evaluation process, then you get selected as a fellow. Amina also mentioned she has been a fellow before. I've also been a fellow before. And the implication of this is that your travel gets sponsored and you get a lot of support during and even after the meeting. So out of the 3 ICANN meetings in a year, there's one that is also for fellowship. It's sponsored, but not open for everyone. So it's an alumni fellowship. So you have to have been a fellow before for you to qualify to apply for one. And one of example of that is the ICANN meeting next week in Prague. For the policy meeting, you have to be an alumni coming back into the fellowship program. Anyway, those are the just extra details regarding it, but we have the fellowship program. One that is missing here that I wanted to add is the next gen program, which is very important. If you're a student, I think the easiest way to get involved with ICANN is the next gen program. And I would also say, personally, this was where I started. The next gen program is limited to students, unfortunately, in this case. So if you're currently enrolled in a university or any sort of educational institution, the next gen program is a good way for you to get involved with ICANN. So just like the fellowship, next gen fellows are sponsored, next gen fellows are taken care of. And you'll be surprised, the community is actually quite open to fellowship participants and next gen participants, in that you can ask any questions, you can reach out to anybody, you can bring up any issues you have, and they're always willing to help and assist you when you are in these meetings. I know because I've also been a part of these programs, yeah? Yeah, and the next gen program has one caveat to it, right? So as you may already know, the ICANN meeting moves to different parts of the world at different times. So if the ICANN meeting is in your region, then you qualify to apply for the next gen program. So say, for example, the ICANN meeting moves to somewhere in Africa, then for us as Nigerians, we are able to apply for the next gen program. Same for Europe, same for Asia, same for all the other places around the world. So this is that. And then we have the community travel program. So at some point when you get involved or you become a part of the community, there are also travel opportunities within the community that becomes available to you, especially when you hold positions within the community, you hold elected positions and all that. That becomes applicable as well. And then there's also the crop. The crop is outreach. Yeah, it's basically another travel opportunity for the community for outreach within ICANN. So, but these are more advanced level of sponsorship that you get when you're already actively involved, perhaps a part of a working group or part of a constituency or support organization or advisory council. So these are the major travel opportunities, and I believe that any one of us have the opportunity to be a part of the fellowship or the next gen program. So this is just my tip that I would give you for preparing. If you have to be in a meeting with ICANN, always be prepared. Schedule your meetings before. That's very important. Speak with better research and on issues, yes. And attend daily coaching meetings. Okay, that's being a fellow, right? Always be humble and polite. Yeah, there are lots of very knowledgeable people in ICANN. So, I mean, your best way to learn from these people is also to be humble, be polite. That goes without saying. And also know where and what to do, because there are lots of things to do. Some people try to get everything once and for all. I think it's not a good strategy, because then you get overwhelmed and yeah, you struggle. Yeah, and these are also further advice on how to network, meeting people. Yeah, so you have the slides, I think. So you can go back to this when you have. I'll just run through the next slide. Yeah, this is also like advice for engagement. Think more about community collaboration, outreach techniques. Yeah, and also get the voice of your community in the development process. So this is just a summary of different ways that you can contribute to the ICANN community. Being a fellow or being a next gen, you have opportunity to contribute in all these aspects. So I can imagine that you also have questions. So I will just hand over back to the moderator. And yeah, I'm available for any questions. Thank you very much. And over to you, Sharon.
Thank you very much, Bolutife. That was a very powerful session. Thank you. I've definitely learned a lot, and I'm sure that I'm not the only one here that has learned so much during this session. It's time for our Q&A session. So I know that we have loads of questions to ask. We have questions for Bolu and Amina, so we'll just let the questions just start rolling in, and then we direct the question to the people that will be responding, or to the person that will be responding. I know Samira's question in the chat has been responded to. She said, who and who constitute the 21 members of the ICANN board, please? And Amina has responded, but I'll still like for her to explain further to the rest of us, just in case there's no clarity there. And then if you have more questions, please raise your hands, and so we can let you ask your questions. Thank you, Amina. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Sharon. So, like I corrected in there, it's actually 20, not 21. When I typed it out, I noticed it's 20. So you have, I will say, two categories of people on the ICANN board, right? You have directors and you also have non-voting liaisons. Now, 16 directors and 4 non-voting liaisons. So majority of the people on the board appointed by a committee called a NomCom, that is the nominating committee. So within ICANN, you have a set of people. This set of people are also people from the community, but they're usually selected by the supporting organizations and the advisory committees. There are some are elected, some are appointed, who and represent us on these nominating committees. So these nominating committee typically within ICANN, they are the ones that select some certain members of the board. They select some certain people from the PTI, which I spoke about earlier, which is the public technical identifiers. They select certain people for, different kind of positions on ICANN. Sometimes if there's election within an SO or AC, sometimes the NOMCOM, chips in. So 8 of these members from the 16 are appointed by the ICANN nominating committee, which leaves you 8 directors and 4 non-voting liaisons, right? Now, those 4 non-voting liaisons are nominated by the GAC, which is the Governmental Advisory Committee, the RSF, which is the RSF, the Root Service Security Advisory Committee, and then the SSAC, the Security and Stability Advisory Committee, and the IETF. I don't know how many people here have heard or haven't heard about the IETF, which is the Internet Engineering Task Force, which is also a different body, right? You can look it up. So these 4 bodies represent the 4 non-voting liaisons, right? So that leaves us with 8 directors. So one of the 8 directors is the ICANN president. For anyone that has been following, the ICANN president was also actually a new president just appointed. Was it early this year or late last? Bulu, I think it was late last year, right? He actually started his tenure at the AGM last year. Um,
Late last
and
year.
then, yes, late last year. And then you have, so the other SOs, that's the GNSO, the Generic Name Supporting Organization, the Address Supporting Organization, and the Country Code Name Supporting Organizations. They appoint 2 of each of these directors, that is making 6. And then the last one is also a director, which is from the ALA. So that makes up the 20 board members that you have for ICANN. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you very much, Amina. Please, do we have any more questions to ask?
I see a question in the chat. I don't know if Bolu wants to. It's basically about the next year.
Yeah, I just posted a link to it actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see that.
Both for the next year and for the fellowship. The link where you can see more information in the chat.
Okay, thank you, Bolu. Any more questions? I have questions, so I'm just waiting for everybody to ask their questions. Okay, so let me start with Amina. You talked about, ICANN maintaining internet stability, and I'm curious to know about some maybe real life examples of something like that.
So actually in December, right, we did a webinar. That's the NCC in collaboration with so within ICANN, there's just a lot of names. There's something called the Coalition for Digital Africa. Now, this is just like I'll say like a subset of not really a subset, but it's within ICANN. It's just a coalition. The goal of the coalition, is to maintain the DNS in Africa, provide capacity building mostly for policymakers and the government, and also advance, multilingualism on the internet. So the commission, in collaboration with the coalition, had a webinar. The webinar was on DNSSEC. Now, the goal of the webinar was to improve the adoption of and validation of DNSSEC in Nigeria. DNSSEC, like I said earlier, is the domain name system security extension. So what it does is it almost like amplifies the security of your DNS, and it limits things like, phishing, like DNS abuse. So we had the webinar because, we all know there are a lot of cases of, phishing, social engineering, people getting, redirected to websites that they are not typical, that is not the website they want to go to, but then there's someone behind the DNS that redirects them to a different website. So it's just one of the initiatives to show you that ICANN is really, in it to make sure that these unique identifiers are interoperable, they are safe, they are secure. and users are not, being manipulated online. So that is one of the real life cases there.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Amina. Okay, to Bolu, I like that you mentioned that it's not really a technical something, because I know that anytime I want to have conversations with people and they say, oh, it has to be a computer science. I must have studied computer science or computer engineering before doing something like that. I like that you've stated that, oh, lawyers and everybody, can be a part of ICANN. But if someone wants to apply for the ICANN fellowship or next gen program, what would you say is the most important thing, to highlight in their application?
Yeah, thanks for that question. I think the biggest tip I can give to anyone applying is, first of all, understand what topics are of concern to the ICANN community at the moment, right? So a lot of people just go with their little understanding of ICANN and just say what they think it should be. But most times it's like off, even though you have a lot of good, nice credentials, but your application sometimes would show that you don't have a clear understanding of what ICANN priority topics are at the moment. So if you go on certain mailing lists, if you attend remotely ICANN meetings, for example, there's one upcoming next week, you would hear lots of the topics that are relevant at the moment. And trust me, that's sort of a tip that can make you really stand out, because a lot of people are lazy, right? They just keep applying and then the applications are not really good enough. But if you have participated in an ICANN meeting, say remotely before, the quality of your application changes, because now you know what is being discussed, you know what the important perspectives would be, and then you can draft a more comprehensive or more qualified application. It doesn't matter what credential you have, maybe you're a professor or whatever, it doesn't really help much. But this tip that I'm giving you would be very important, because also when you answer the few essay questions that are in the application, you can show that you actually have a good understanding of, for example, the next round of GTLD applications that is currently ongoing. This basically is not even a technical topic, because GTLD is generic top-level domains, which are, for example, .com, .net, .edu, .org, and then they're actually giving out, or people are applying, companies are applying for new versions of that. So say .sharon, .bolu, that's a top-level domain, right? So also there's a country code domain, which is like .ng, .us. So there's a difference between that. So merely understanding the difference between those two and being able to speak to a policy that relates to a specific section of ICANN that is of relevance to what the community is discussing at the moment, it really helps in your application. I would say it really helps. And yeah, you just need to put up a good application. They are always looking for people that know what they're talking about and can contribute to ICANN generally. So yeah. And just for you to know, a lot of the people selecting, we have lots of Nigerians there. So they will not say, oh, you're bad if you're good. So try to be good. That's the major advice. Guys, I'm sorry I need to run now because I have another meeting that is starting right now. But it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bolu. Thank you. All right. So lastly, I don't know why I'm the only one asking questions here. If we don't have questions, can we at least drop in the chat box what we have learned, just briefly, just something that we have learned from this session. I mean, my last question to you will be: your session had a lot of abbreviations. It had a lot of, technical but non-technical words. Okay, before I throw my question, let me. Otunte, I hope I pronounced your name well. Please, your hands are up. I'd like to hear what's your question.
All right. Thank you very much. Sorry, I'm going to sue you for not being able to pronounce my name very well.
I'm sorry.
All right. Good afternoon to all of us. It's a pleasure being here. I want to thank Love Day for sharing this meeting link, and that's why I am here. What I want to say about it, I don't know, I want to encourage leadership. ICANN meeting hosts 3 times in a year. If possible, whenever any of the meeting comes up, I think the next one is going to be this month in Norway. I don't know, we're in different locations. Otherwise, I would have suggested that there should be hubs in different locations where 3, 4, 5 persons could gather and follow the meetings remotely, and let's say have a better understanding on how ICANN meeting works. Otherwise, during the ICANN meeting, the leadership of the youth should take it as a responsibility to share. Possibly, I know there are different rooms, but maybe the rooms that could be relevant to the youth IGF for now, to share the meeting rooms with in your group, so that to encourage members to participate. That's my small thoughts. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much. I still didn't get your name. I'm so sorry. But thank you very much for your contribution. It is very imperative that we all participate in this. I mean, this session, as short as it is, it has been impactful. You can just imagine the next meeting. All right. So I was going to ask my last one. Please don't forget, if you have any question, just raise your hand and then we'll hand over the microphone to you. All right, Amina, the last question from me to you would be: you had a lot of abbreviations during your session, and one might be intimidated by some of those technical terms, right? Some might feel like, oh, it's too big for me. I'm not going to
Sharon,
do
can you hear
this.
me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello? Internet is so bad.
Is anyone hearing me? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, Sharon, we can hear you.
Yes, we can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay, so I'm guessing that's from
Sharon,
Amina.
please.
Amina, can you hear me now? Okay. While we're waiting for Amina, we have someone else raising their hand. That is Sekal M. Kamara.
Can you
No,
repeat your
help
question?
me.
I do have a meeting that started also 3 minutes ago. But can you repeat your question so I can quickly answer it and join my meeting?
Okay, sorry. I was saying there are some people that are intimidated by some of the terms that you raised, some of the things that you talked about. What would be your advice to people like that? We also have someone else that's raising their hand, but let's hear your response real quick.
Okay, so the one thing, right, is to do so, like I said at the beginning, right? As long as you're on ICANN, you cannot escape acronyms. If acronyms are not for you, then you need to find a way to make them for you, right? You come across documents, you come across meetings, people say one sentence, and in the sentence there's like 5 acronyms, right? I remember when I first joined, people were saying a lot of things: UTLD, PDP, EPDP, RFR, like 1,001 things. And I remember going back to my boss then and trying to plead with her to take me off ICANN, but she didn't. So when you go on the ICANN website, right, there is a page that says ICANN for beginners. Under that page, that is where you will find every single information you need, from the courses that ICANN has for free for newcomers and even people that are in the community as a refresher, to a list of acronyms. Now, not all the acronyms will be there, of course, because some come up as time goes, but you will find the majority of the ones that are mostly being used across board, you'll find them there. So that's a good starting point for you to learn about these acronyms. Others, you have to just maybe if you hear about them in a meeting, don't be shy to ask someone what it means. If you're a newcomer, you can ask, or you can always just Google right on the spot, and you can the meaning of the acronym will come. So there are a lot of acronyms in. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Amina. Just before you go, I would like to take a photo before we call it a wrap. So please, just before you go, 2 seconds, right? Before you leave. Another hand is up, but let's take this photo session before you leave. So please, all cameras should be turned on briefly so a photo session can be taken, and then we call it a wrap.
Sorry, Sharon, pardon me. I'm just going through my computer now, and I think I have some soft copy of ICANN documents, beginner's guide, DNSSEC, domain name for beginners, ICANN fellowship, glossary, what ICANN does and doesn't do, what does ICANN do, blah, blah, blah. I think I'll share that with Loveday so that Loveday can share with the community. Soft
Thank
copy
you very
documents.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Amina is still here. Here, you're still here. Can all our cameras be turned on briefly, please?
I will just do that.
Okay, Loveday. Are we good to go? Hi, Loveday. Are we good to go?
So I think we're taking the pictures now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we have the pictures.
Thank you very much, Amina. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we have to look at the way forward, talking about the next webinar and how impactful our plans has been. Sharon, I hand over to you to run us through the plan for the next webinar. Thank you. And mostly before Sharon take over the mic, I want to also create your endurance that most of your questions you can follow us on social media platforms, and there's going to be a feedback form that will be shared rightly. So if there's any question, you can put it as part on the comment section on the feedback form. So those questions should be addressed when we are sending you the recording and the materials for this webinar. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, Loveday, and thank you so much to everyone who joined this webinar. The next one will be happening in July. We're going to send you details of it with the to the email that you sent. You registered from. Sorry, please. Let me take this question or contribution. Sekau M. Kamara, please go on.
Good afternoon. I'm Sigu M. Kamar. Are you getting me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Are you getting me? Hello, are you getting me?
We can hear you. Go on.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. Okay. I'm Sigu M. Kamar, president of the Liberia Information Technology Student Union. It's a university grouping that into digital advocacies, capacity building, internet transformation, cybersecurity, and other stuff. So we have been in existence since 2015. So this year is our 10 years of anniversary. My predecessors was a member of ICANN through our institutions, of which he traveled to Nigeria regarding about the Internet Society Forum at the time. And so I've had access to our institution email, and I was able to receive communications from the Internet Society for in Nigeria, the youth. So that's how I want to apply and then get access to the link. So basically, we from Liberia supervise the activities of the ICT from the youth and student spectrums. So I'm happy to be part of these institutions and also to represent my students and the Liberian student at large. So we apply for the next meeting, which is the June from June 5th to June 9th. I don't know whether we apply for remotely or it will be in person. So that was my questions. If it is remotely, I will be able to apply through that process, and we will be able to share link and to work together, because by July of next month we will start our outreach training in some region in Liberia where we will be. We got to understand that schools have closed, so vacation time we will be carry on capacity building on the safety of internet, how phishing, cyber ransomware is at a landscape, how cyberbullying at a landscape in my country. So we are carrying on our basic awareness, training, saving people from the harmful danger of the internet, and how people can navigate their way and can be safe from cyber fraud and other stuff. So I just wanted to make that little input for my directions here in Monrovia, and we will participate and make our necessary input as time go by.
Thank you so much. Amos, let's hear from you. Hi, Amos. Your hands are up. Okay. I'm not sure Amos is still with us. Lele Abdul.
All right. Thank you very much, Sharon. Mine is just an introduction. My name is Leila Abdu. This is the first time I'm joining any of your meetings or webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and you're welcome. Okay, thank you very much. I'm guessing Amos is still not with us. All right, so the social media handles are in the chat box. Yes, the social media handles are in the chat box for you to follow all our social media pages on the social media platforms. And then our next webinar is coming up in July. All the information, the details will be sent to you via the email that you used to register for this webinar. All right, thank you once again to all the speakers, the organizers, everyone who joined. The social media handles, Lovely has posted it again, just in case. And thank you for the messages, the questions, for participating in this webinar. I hope that we are leaving more knowledgeable than we joined. Thank you very much. Remember that this sets Thank you, Chibugo. I hope that this sets, the pace for the next ICANN meeting, or ICANN series. And so we'll be able to participate, not just watching, we'll be able to participate, we'll be able to put hands together to make the internet a better place. Thank you very much for everything, the contributions and everything. So at this point, I'd love to wish everybody a lovely afternoon and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Cheers.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.